Hey, let's go. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Hope you're well wherever you are. Hi, I'm Sean Pugsley Martin. This is episode 108 of Pugsley Spit. And as we always do, we begin each show by asking you the question, where else would you rather be than right here? Boom, right now. On today's show, we're going to look at the 2-0 teams in the NFL. Are they contenders or pretenders? And a few of the 0-2 teams, will some rebound or are they screwed? Are their fan bases feeling like the season is already on the brink of disaster? Before we get to that, it's been a few weeks. We're out of the summer kind of break. For me, by way of introduction, I'm a freelance sports writer for the Albany Times Union, avid sports enthusiast, big time homer for my teams without apologies. You can follow the show on Twitter at Pugsley Spit, taking the podcast here on our YouTube channel at Pugsley927. Look, a little extra today, right? Okay, I had my 12 cups of coffee, but also I'm coming off a weekend. The Raiders won, the Huskers won. Hopefully, you've got a lot more of that to come this season and beyond. But for now, I'm enjoying it. So let's get right to those 2-0 teams in the NFL. So we're going to start in the AFC East, and I'm a little surprised by one of these so far, in a sense that I really thought with the offseason the Bills had, their fans are going to be doing a little bit of this a little more often. I didn't think they'd go down and win in Miami. That's part of the thing. I thought the Bills would really struggle, but you know what? 2-0 is 2-0. You are what your record says you are. Josh Allen has been fantastic. I really thought the losing Diggs and Gabe Davis and some of those other wide receivers, I thought it would really hurt the Bills. So far, it hasn't. Good for them. You never know. The season again, it's still early, but they're still 2-0. They get a struggling Jacksonville team on Monday night, so a real good chance for the Bills to go 3-0 in what kind of looks like a bit of a wide open division. We'll get into Miami in a little bit, and Tua. I don't know how the Dolphins recover from that, but we'll have to see. So Buffalo, just keep doing what you're doing, Bills fans, and maybe I'll give you a new picture here, so you don't have to relive last January's disaster. Over in the Central, 2-0, and I'm putting this up there because I just can't stand this guy. I'm going to say the Steelers are 2-0 because Russell Wilson is not playing. I don't have a whole lot of faith in him. I think his best days are by him. I think he's more interested in being a celebrity quarterback than a winning quarterback. But you know what? To give the Steelers props, Justin Fields has played well. Win at Denver is kind of what it is. I don't know how impressive that is. Denver's kind of a dumpster fire right now. But they won the game. I was surprised they beat Atlanta opening week down there, down in Georgia, but they did. Fields has managed the game, so that's good for them. Now, here's the thing with the Steelers. At the start of the year, my projection was that their streak under Mike Tomlin of going over 500 every year, it's going to end. And I'll tell you why. Steeler fans, enjoy what's going on now. Just enjoy it. The last 7 games are brutal for Pittsburgh. They're absolutely brutal. I think they're really going to struggle. They're going to have to get to 9 wins, I think, before they get to those 7. The last 7: home to Baltimore, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, home to Cleveland, at Philly, 2-9 in their last 11, at Baltimore, home to KC, home to the Bengals. That's a real tough stretch, but you know what? 2-0 is off to a good start. The finish is going to be tough, but you got to live in the now, as some people would tell you. 2-0 in the South is C.J. Stroud and the Texans. Great matchup this week with the Texans and the amazingly 2-0 Vikings. I did not see that win coming against San Francisco. I think a lot of people had as the best team in the NFC, but Minnesota took them apart. They got off to an early lead, and they didn't look back. But back to the Texans. C.J. Stroud is everything that a lot of people thought he was going to be coming out of Ohio State. Former Raider GM Dave Ziegler supposedly wanted to try and trade up to get Stroud to get that second pick of the draft. That asshole Josh McDaniels apparently overruled him in favor of Jimmy Garoppolo, and well, here we are. But the Texans, yeah, they're a legit contender. I think they're the class of that division. I don't think Indy's got it. They didn't look good at all against the Packers and the Jaguars, and not sure what's going on with them. And they're just having trouble winning games. We'll get to them in a little bit. And the Titans have no quarterback in Will Levis. So Houston, yeah, look, if they can stay healthy, they got a great coach in D'Amico Ryans, good active defense. Houston absolutely looks like the class of the AFC South. AFC West, there's a pair of 2-0 teams. I still say this will be Coach Harbaugh's highlight of his calendar year of 2025. I think they're going to, they should have, could have, would have lost that game opening day to the Raiders. It still pisses me off. Beating Carolina, yeah, okay, congratulations. Although the Raiders have Carolina this week, and we have a history of playing down to opponents, so hopefully that does not occur. I don't need that for my stress level. But the Chargers and Steelers, actually, you got another matchup of 2-0 teams here. So someone's going to fall. I think the Chargers they're not a playoff team. I'm not a big fan of Herbert. I think he's overrated. I think they're going to come back to earth a little bit. Yeah, I think it's going to struggle. I think they're going to they won't make the playoffs this year, and the Chargers are probably going to have to be a 2-year reclamation thing for Harbaugh to get the players he wants, get his kind of guys in there. But that's it. I think the Chargers are really going to have a tough year, but they're off to a good start, so their 7 fans have to be ecstatic. Kansas City, you ask why they don't get an overlay picture on here. They're not worth my time. They're obviously a contender. Having Pacheco break a fibula the other day is a tough blow for them. It's a game they should have lost. Cincinnati should have closed that game out, but they didn't. That's how the Chiefs end up in the Super Bowl, right? They win games sometimes. It was a tough game at home. It was actually a fun game to watch, but the end of it sucked. But Chiefs are 2-0. They're obviously a contender. That's it for the AFC 2-0 teams. And we're going to go to the NFC here. Did you have the Vikings 2-0? I didn't. Yeah, beating the Giants. Okay. They're really, really, really bad. I did not think they could beat the Vikings. Sam Darnold is an interesting guy that people loved him coming out of college at USC. I did, but he didn't do anything with the Jets. He didn't do anything in Carolina. He carried Brock Purdy's luggage last year in San Francisco, but he's been good enough, and they're winning games. I'm looking forward to see how they do against the Titans this week. They still have Justin Jefferson. They have Jordan Addison. They can run the ball a little bit with Aaron Jones. And I woke up the other day to a text message from a buddy of mine from high school. He's a big Vikings fan. It's like, don't people realize that the Vikings have a really good defense? Well, Dano, guess what? If they know it, they forgot about it, but they should know now. So good for the Vikes. Another team I'm happy that's 2-0, and I'm going with this old throwback picture. Derek Carr's in his second year in New Orleans, although it's his first year with Clint Kubiak calling the offense. Typically, Carr has historically struggled in his first year under new coordinators. He had seemingly one every year or two in Oakland. But something's clicking. Clint Kubiak has come in. He knows how to use the weapons. Carr's had enough time. He's throwing dimes to Rashid Shaheed there. Chris Olave's a game breaker at wide receiver, and Alvin Kamara was possessed the other day. 91 points in their first 2 games and scores on their first 16 possessions over their first 2 games. Watch out for New Orleans. I had them as a Super Bowl team last year. Obviously, that was wrong, but watch out for Carr and the Saints. If they can keep him healthy, he got banged up a lot last year. I'd love to see what New Orleans can do this season. They're a good team. We'll see. And I'm a Derek Carr fan. I think he got a really bad rap in Vegas, Oakland, whatever you want to call it. The Raider fans, he's been as polarizing a person as we've ever had in my 50 years as a fan. But I'm rooting hard for Derek Carr. He's a class act. You don't have to love the guy. You don't have to love everything he does on the field, but I'm rooting for him. Tampa Bay, Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I know Baker. I actually like Baker Mayfield, and I'm happy he's kind of had a little bit of a career resurrection going on. Did not see that win coming in Detroit, but it happened. So Tampa's 2-0, good for them. I think they're a pretender, and same with Seattle. I can't just buy Geno Smith as a legit NFL playoff caliber quarterback. I just don't see it. I know he's had a career resurrection in Seattle. I think with Geno Smith, if he's your quarterback, I think your ceiling is what, 9-8, maybe 9-8. Yeah, sounds right. They'll get a little break in their division. The Rams will get to them in a few minutes. They just can't stay healthy. The Niners are the class of the division. Arizona is 1-1. That's a competitive 1-1. They could really be 2-0, given that tough opening day loss to Buffalo. So let's get to the 0-2 teams. Boy, there's some guys on this list that are I don't see it. Anyway, who can turn it around? I like two of them, and they both play in the same division. The Ravens and the Bengals. The Ravens, they lost that tough opener at Kansas City, a game they could have won. I don't know what happened to them the other day against the Raiders. And as happy as I was just as surprised. I'll get into that a little bit in my world, not from a Raider fan perspective, but boy, you're the Ravens. You're a 9.5-point favorite at home. You got to go finish the deal there. And they had a 10-point lead in the second half. And the defense held the Raiders to 48 total yards in the first half. That's an inexcusable loss for the Ravens. It really is. I'll take it because it made me get to sleep a little easier with a smile on my face Sunday night. But the tough chore for Baltimore is now you're going down to Dallas and against a Cowboy team that just got lit up by the Saints. I don't know how good the Cowboys are. I'm not sure how good their defense is. I still think of them. The last three games they played, they got torched at home by Green Bay in the playoffs, and then New Orleans last week. They beat up a Cincinnati or a Cleveland team that not really sure what that is. But Baltimore, yeah, it's a must-win game this week for sure. And the other team in their division that I'm not gonna dump yet is the Bengals. They got the Commanders at home. We have one of those Monday night concurrent games going on this week. Jacksonville, Buffalo, 7:30, Washington at Cincy. That's the game I really want to watch. I'm a big Jaden Daniels fan. I see how he does for the Commanders. Joe Burrow and the Bengals, this is a must-win game. Absolute must-win game. I think they'll get there for the Bengals this week. And who has just screwed the aforementioned Rams? So many injuries. Cooper Kupp, Puka Nakua's out. They got injuries banged up on both sides of the line of scrimmage. I don't know how many guys get back, how quickly they get back. We'll have to see. If they can keep Matthew Stafford healthy, that does give them an experienced quarterback there to help kind of guide the ship through this turmoil. But it's a tough road to hoe. And this week they're hosting a San Francisco team coming off a bad loss at Minnesota. I think the Rams are going to drop to 0-3 this week. Carolina. Not only is Carolina just really, really bad, inept, is there a worse run organization outside of the Oakland Athletics in professional sports? Maybe the Chicago White Sox. I got to be honest with you. I didn't love Bryce Young coming out of college. I thought he was way too small. Didn't have arm strength, didn't have a lot. I think he got way too much credit for being just a quarterback at Alabama. But they've done nothing to help this kid. I was reminded the other day watching, it was Mel Kiper, when Carolina, you got new coaches in there, new system for him. He didn't play in the first two preseason games. They gave him a cup of coffee and a token appearance in just one of their three preseason games. That's when Bryce Young should have been working on his game because his stats are terrible. And right now, he is one of the biggest busts in the history of the NFL draft, given the fact they gave away 2 number ones, 2 number twos, and, oh, by the way, DJ Moore. And the second of those number ones turned into Caleb Williams. much higher regarded. Yeah, he's off to a slow start for the Bears, but much higher regarded than Bryce Young was because Carolina was the worst team in the league last year. To pull him out now, what are you doing? You're 0-2. You're devoid of talent all over the field. Why are you putting him out? Why not give him a chance, see what kind of mettle he has? Can he handle this? Can he withstand this? Can he grow as a player? You're going to ride with Andy Dalton in week 3 already? That's just insane. The Carolina Panthers right now, they're the LA Angels of the NFL. Just organizational malpractice. Speaking of malpractice, who thought it was a good idea to give Daniel Jones that contract in New York? Who made that call? Let me tell you something. They're terrible, and I love it. I love it. I hate the Giants. I get stuck having to watch them. I get Sunday tickets. I don't have to. Thank God. Who decided it was a good idea to pay this guy 2 years ago? Just awful. Just awful. I love it, though. So, Giants, they're all done. I think they're on the clock. I originally thought it was going to be New England a few weeks ago. They're at least 1-1, and it should be 2-0 after that unlikely win at Cincinnati. But right now, the Giants, Carolina, they're the bad teams. Denver. It's always a good day when the Broncos suck, and this season is no different. They took Bo Nix too early. He wasn't worth that 12th round pick. Yeah, they're playing him. I'll give them credit for at least trying to ride with him, give them some experience. They're going to struggle all year. They're at Tampa this week. Look for Tampa to go to 3-0. I think if Detroit or Denver, that pick was way too high. He was not worth the 12th pick of the draft. They should have traded down, picked up a few more draft capital because they don't have a lot of players. They could have used a few extra picks and taken Knicks at the end of the first round or in the 20s at least. So Sean Payton screwed that up. His return to the NFL has not gone as swimmingly as I think some people thought. Tennessee, I think if you look at Coach Brian Callahan's response to Will Levis's turnover problem and his reaction the other day, you kind of get an idea of what's going on with the Titans. They're going to struggle all year because they don't have a quarterback. And they took Levis last year. He fell in the draft. They've gone with him. I just don't see it. I don't see the ceiling for him. He's okay. But if your starting quarterback is okay in the NFL, you better have an awful lot around him on offense with weapons and on defense. The Titans don't have it. They're a last place team. And they're a last place team because I still can't figure out what is the matter with Jacksonville. What's wrong with Trevor Lawrence? They have just regressed. That is a team that won a playoff game. Not last year, the year before. And then they went and battled hard in the divisional round of the AFC. Trevor Lawrence has regressed. His decision-making is spotty at best. They're renaming the stadium instead of Trevor Bank Stadium, or instead of Everbank, they're now calling it Trevor Bank. It's a lot of money for a guy that's killing you. Okay, I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but Jacksonville is a team that, they were the Houston Texans a year ago, where everybody thought this is the team to jump on. This is the up and coming team. They're not now, and a lot of that's on Trevor Lawrence. He's been in the league long enough after a great career at Clemson, where who are you? You gotta find out exactly who you are as a quarterback. And I don't know. I still like him. If he were the Raider quarterback, I wouldn't be upset. But can he get better? Can he get to the next level? And more importantly, as a quarterback, can he get his team to the next level? And speaking of quarterbacks, let's talk about it briefly. I was kind of watching the Bills and Dolphin game last Thursday early on. And I remember thinking, geez, I'm kind of enjoying watching Tua play. I'm happy he's gotten through the concussion injuries that hurt him a few years ago. Because I think he's a pretty good quarterback. And I enjoy watching him play the game of football. And then it happened. I wish he'd slid. I'm sure he does. I'm sure everybody does, but he didn't. And he took another hard hit. It's far be it from me to tell what somebody else to do with their life. He came out this week and said that he wants to keep playing football, and that's the athlete mentality. That's the alpha male mentality that you get with athletes, especially in the NFL and especially with quarterbacks. I'm hoping he gets some sound medical advice, and maybe outside of the Dolphins, because it wasn't that long ago that those doctors there and some of the NFL doctors were sending him back out in the field after a bad concussion. So I hope he can take a step back. He got put on IR yesterday, make a good decision. Life is precious, and you want him to enjoy it. But each time you get a concussion, they just get worse and worse and worse. And at some point, too, is real young. At some point, you got to think about quality of life and what's it going to be after the NFL. So we'll see what happens with Tua. So hey, listen, let's go. Let's move on to the My World segment now. The Raiders. So here's the deal. That game on Sunday was brutal for the first half and into the third period. The Raiders couldn't run the ball, didn't run the ball. Gardner Minshew, I know he had decent completion percentages. That was a tough game to watch. But they hung in there. The defense hung in there. They kept the Raiders close. Maxx Crosby was everywhere. 4 tackles for loss, couple sacks. He was in Lamar Jackson's grill all day. The biggest play Maxx Crosby made the whole weekend was following an interception or a turnover from Minshew. You got the scene of Crosby going up to him on the field as he's coming off and just saying, hey, we got you. We believe in you. That's leadership, right? That's leadership. We got your back. It's a long game. The Raider defense set the tee for the offense. They kept the team in the game until the offense figured it out in the second half. And I don't know if it was the OC, Luke Getsy. I'm not sure what changed. But I know this. I'm watching that game pissed off in the first half. I'm like, my God, I had such high hopes for this year, even with Minshew or Aiden O'Connell as our quarterbacks, because I knew the defense was good. The offensive line has been a huge, huge disappointment so far. But after the game was over, we win the game, we're 1-1 all of a sudden, and I'm like, I think that's what the Gardner Minshew experience is going to be. He's going to drive me a little crazy like he did down in LA opening week in a game we should have won. But then he's also going to make some plays maybe when things aren't there, when things break down, and that happened the other day. He's able to scramble, create some more time, create some more room, things that I like Aiden O'Connell, but O'Connell is not – that's not what he does. He's got cement feet, and trust me, that's what I have. I know what cement feet is, and that's O'Connell. I think O'Connell's better in the pocket than Minshew, but Minshew can create plays on the run. He did that the other day. He ended up with 30 for 38. Yeah, we won the game, 1-1, and we got Carolina coming up. So let's go take care of that and get to 2-1. But of those 30 receptions for Minshew, completions, 9 for 9 to Brock Bowers. And here's the thing about Brock Bowers. When it became the Raiders' turn to draft back in May, 13th pick, I wanted the tackle from Oregon State, the right tackle. I can't remember his name. And when they drafted Brock Bowers, I was stunned. I'm like, didn't we just pick Michael Mayer last year in the second round? And a lot of people were shocked. And then I read about it, and I read that Tom Telesco, the new GM, his first draft of the Raiders, that he's one of those GMs that has a philosophy of if there's a great player on the board, you can never have too many elite players. Okay, I trust him. He's my GM. That's it. I trust him. Brock Bowers, 9 targets on Sunday, 9 completions. Game-changing completions. 15 completions and 17 targets over a 2-week span. This kid is a monster. And he got open the other day just consistently. He's a beast. He is a beast, and I'm going to enjoy watching him. Stay healthy, my man. And for the Raiders this week, this is a Carolina team coming in that's really struggling. Yes, they got the red rifle back there, but this is a game the Raiders, you go out and you take care of your business. Don't give them any openings. Take care of the football. Keep penalties at a minimum, which the Raiders have really done well since Antonio Pierce took over as coach. Keep it going, guys. Let's go get a win. Let's go 2-1. And And after that, the Raiders won 2 road games. So after that, we got Cleveland coming in. Deshaun Watson, he's a hot mess. So let's keep that alive. So let's go Raider Nation. Let's get to 2-1. Got to go to college football. We haven't had a pod since the Huskers got going. Matt Ruhle is the man. Dylan Raiola is more than everything people hope for, I think, after 3 games. And what I like about the Huskers is they had Colorado 28-0 at halftime. Yeah, the final was 28-10. The second half was a little sloppy. I think they were working on things. They could have run that score up. They had some penalties. They had some mistakes. I thought it was okay. That's not bad. For a team that you're trying to work through some issues, it's okay to have a little adversity, particularly with a 4-touchdown lead. Gives you something to work on for the next week. Were we great against Northern Iowa? But we were great early when we have to be. Second half, okay, a little bit. Not that they took the foot off the gas, but you're efficient. Go out and win the game. Keep your guys healthy. And even more importantly, you don't have to show your future opponents everything you have in the repertoire. We open Big Ten competition this Friday night, the 400th straight sellout in Memorial Stadium in Lincoln. Don't show Illinois everything you have. That's going to be a really tough game. Illinois is having a really good year. But the Huskers so far, the Dylan Raiola experience has been everything we hoped for and more. Matt Ruhle, you could run for emperor of the state of Nebraska and you'd win it right now. And let's just keep it going. I'm enjoying this season. Before we leave you, shameless book plugs. Dear Liam and Noah, Letters from Daddy, available on Amazon. I should get the pictures up here. I just won some awards with the Outstanding Creator Awards, including first place in the best book of the summer of 24, 5 first place awards in all. Maybe I'll get that up there for next time, but very pleased with the reaction to that. And also, for those that don't know, The 3 Bulls, my first children's book, was released back in May through the greatness of the Saratoga Springs Publishing Company. Also won a few awards with the Outstanding Creators, 3rd place for Best Children's Book, 1st place in a few other categories under the children's category, one for friendship and character development and a few other things. So that's my deal. That will do it for this week. And we'll be back next week. The plan is to be here going forward each week. Like I said, the summer months were a little challenging for me as far as getting scheduled. But that said, have yourself an awesome week. Enjoy the football. Hope your favorite teams, favorite players can stay healthy, because that can kill a season. So let's hopefully that doesn't happen unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs. Have a great day. Bye all.